The universe is not chaotic as many mistakenly believe. Every phenomenon, from the pulse of an atom to the orbit of the planets, follows immutable laws. These laws do not need our belief to exist, nor do they wait for our awareness to operate. They are always present, enduring, and absolute like gravity. You may not see it, but you cannot escape its influence. Every experience, every event in life is a reflection of this silent operation. Yet, while all things quietly obey the invisible order, human beings are granted a rare privilege, the power of consciousness. Consciousness is not merely for observing and reacting, but for creating and commanding. It is the gateway that connects us to the universe, the channel through which immutable laws become resources serving each person's journey. The question is not whether you are using consciousness to create reality. The real question is, what kind of reality are you creating? Because even when you are indifferent, consciousness still functions. It continues to sow invisible seeds into the soil of destiny. The beliefs you nurture, the emotions you hold, the thoughts you repeat, all become commands sent to the universe. And the universe, loyal to the utmost, reflects them in daily life. The pessimist lives in a world full of dead ends. The optimist walks in a universe overflowing with opportunities. The objective circumstances are not different. It is the lens of consciousness that determines what they see, how they act, and what results return to them. Modern science, especially quantum physics, has touched upon this. The act of observation does not merely record, but also influences the outcome. Reality is not fixed like a wall. It is flexible like clay, ready to transform according to the patterns imprinted by human consciousness. What you think of yourself, what you believe about the world, what emotions you allow to guide you all combine into an energetic stream that shapes your experience. That is why success or failure originates within the inner state long before it takes form in the external world. If you want to understand more clearly, observe how every great creation in history was born. A building does not begin with bricks and mortar, but with the design in the architect's mind. A symphony does not arise from random sounds, but from an idea resonating in the composer's soul. An invention does not emerge from steel or wires, but from the spark of imagination. The universe requires that everything exists twice, once in consciousness, once in material form. Skip the first stage, and you will never have the second. The danger is that most people forget this power. They believe themselves to be products of circumstance, that life is nothing more than a chain of uncontrollable accidents. They do not realize that the very way they think, feel, and believe contributes to shaping that chain of events. A person who continually sows doubt and fear into their consciousness should not be surprised that their life is full of failures. A person who nurtures belief in potential and abundance will find consciousness itself opening the path accordingly. The universe merely reflects. It does not take sides. The difference between living unconsciously and living intentionally lies in the ability to direct consciousness. When you realize that you can choose your beliefs, that you can shape your perspective, you begin to seize control of destiny. When you persistently hold in your mind the image of success, you gradually draw that success closer. When you continuously repeat positive thoughts, you are laying the foundation for positive events to occur. There is no room for blind luck, but a clear sequence of logic. Consciousness generates energy. Energy shapes circumstances. Do not forget, outward action is only the tip of the iceberg. The submerged part is consciousness. An action born of anxiety only multiplies insecurity. An action born of unwavering belief, even before yielding results, still brings lessons, opens opportunities, and draws you nearer to your goal. That is why the starting point does not lie in plans or tools, but in shaping the state of consciousness. Without this, every effort is nothing but patchwork, endlessly circling old patterns. Imagine standing before the vast sea. The universe is the ocean, and consciousness is the boat. The sea neither opposes you nor favors you. It only responds to how you steer. If you do not know how to hold the rudder, the boat will drift with the waves, but if you are deliberate and steady, you will reach the shore you once envisioned. This is not a miracle, but the rational operation of law. Whoever understands and harmonizes masters. From this perspective, responsibility no longer lies outside of you. You can no longer blame fate, society, or circumstance, because every day you are sending signals from your consciousness, and those very signals sooner or later become lived experience. Therefore, instead of asking, do I create my own reality? Ask, What kind of consciousness am I allowing to shape my life? An undeniable truth, as within, so without. If the inner world is filled with conflict, life will mirror chaos. If the mind is full of belief and vision, the universe will deliver opportunities and synchronicities. No one can replace you in choosing the state of consciousness. And there is no exception. You will receive exactly what you have planted in your mind. This is the cornerstone for every step forward. Whoever grasps it unlocks freedom. Whoever neglects it still lives, but within a script written by others. The moment you fully recognize the decisive role of the mind is the moment you hold in your hand the key that opens the door to a life designed by you. No achievement in life can arise from nothingness. Before a building is constructed, it has already been envisioned in the mind of the architect. Before a symphony is written into notes, it has already resonated in the soul of the composer. Every great creation, whether material or spiritual, passes through an immutable law. Reality must first be conceived in consciousness before it takes shape in life. This law is called the law of manifestation. The starting point of every result does not lie out there, but right within the mind. Consciousness is the furnace where the seed of thought is melted, crystallized, and ultimately shaped into lived experience. You may try to deny it, you may attempt to forget it, but you cannot escape the influence of this law. If within you are doubt, fear, and inferiority, sooner or later those energies will condense into corresponding circumstances: failure, stagnation, limitation. On the other hand, when consciousness nourishes strong belief, clear vision, and undivided aspiration, that clarity itself becomes the command that summons the universe to send opportunities, resources, and synchronicities. What is striking is that most people still live like sleepwalkers inside their own consciousness. They let their minds wander, react on instinct, then wonder why life seems to repeat the same cycles, one failure after another, one limitation after another. They do not realize that even indifference is itself a choice. To leave consciousness undefined is to let chaos define it for you. The universe does not distinguish whether you are in control or whether you have surrendered. It merely reflects faithfully the energy you emit. The law of manifestation also carries within it a sharp principle. You cannot reap what has never been formed inside you. Success does not appear for someone who has never dared to see themselves as worthy of success. Wealth does not come to one who harbors resentment toward money. A healthy relationship cannot be manifested from a mind full of fear of abandonment. The external reality cannot surpass the quality of the inner image, and the inner image only becomes magnetic when it is nurtured by consciousness in a coherent, non-contradictory way. The problem is that most of us live in contradiction. Outwardly, we say we want prosperity, but inside we fear that wealth will invite envy. We claim to crave success, but within we doubt our own abilities.